estudiantes, this video is about how to tell someone what not to do. So if you want to boss people around and say like, don't do this, this video is for you. And this is going to be in the two, which is the informal way of saying you. First, we have no me digas, don't tell me. No te duermas en el trabajo, don't fall asleep at work. No comas carne, that's a pig saying this to you, don't eat meat. No escuches, don't listen. No pongas excusas, don't make excuses. So as you can see, all of these end in S, just like the to form normally does. However, the ending is slightly different. So for instance, instead of escuchas, you listen as a fact. Now we're saying no escuches with es, like don't listen. Instead of comes ending in es from comer, now it ends in as for don't eat. So this is for when you're telling someone what not to do, like as a command. If I'm just making a general statement like you don't eat meat, that would still be no comes with the es carne, or you don't listen in class, it would be no escuchas en clase with the as, but here we're seeing something different. And then we have a few that are like no me digas, or don't tell me, no te duermas en el trabajo, for instance. So how we got these words is first we started with a yo form of the present tense. So a normal o forms like the comer one was yo como, the tell me one was yo digo, etc. We had to drop the o. So it was like get rid of the o. And then the last thing we did is we're using the opposite endings now. So for the to form AR verbs are going to end in ES. ER and IR verbs are now going to end in AS. So for instance, with our food unit, if I'm telling someone not to eat, don't eat, it would be no. My verb for to eat is comer. My yo form is como. Step 2 is drop the O, so get rid of the O. And now I'm going to add my opposite ending. Comer is an ER verb, so it's going to be no comas for don't eat. If I'm saying don't cook, I'd have my no cocinar is to cook. So I have to take my yo form, cocino, drop the O. Now I'm going to add my opposite ending. Cocinars and AR verbs, there's no cocines. Don't drink. I have my no, beber is to drink. I have my yo form, drop the O. My opposite ending is no bebas. Let's say instead of using the verb cocinar to cook, I did no hacer la comida, like don't make food. So my yo form for hacer is hago. Hago was one of the irregular yo verbs. I take off my no, my o. My opposite ending is as because hacer is the irregular in the yo and an er verb. The reason I keep saying use the yo form is because things like hacer have an irregular yo, and if you just add the opposite ending right away, you wouldn't get that hagas done correctly. So speaking of these irregular yo verbs, I put a list of some of them up here. I know we haven't, that list isn't fully complete, but look back at that video if these are something you're still struggling to remember. So let's say I'm saying don't set the table. There's a phrase, poner la mesa, to set the table. I start with my yo form, pongo, drop the O, add the opposite ending. Poner is an AR verb, so it's going to be pongas la mesa. Don't bring dessert. I think that person must be on a diet. So I have no traer el postre. Think of postre like pastel or pastry. The yo form of bring is traigo. Drop the O, opposite ending is AS. Don't leave the kitchen because I want you to help me cook. No salir de la cocina is to leave the kitchen. The yo form of to leave is salgo. Drop the O, my opposite ending is AS for IR verbs. So you do have to keep in mind all the irregular yo verbs when doing this. So sometimes with the yo form, it does not end in O, and that kind of breaks the rule that we just went through. So here we have don't be mean, don't go. So to go is or I go is voy, that does not end in O. I am, or the verb to be, ser, and the ego form is soy, that does not end in O. So here is what's going to happen with both. We're going to call that group of irregulars dishes. So for instance, the verb dar does not end in O, so you have to memorize its command separately. Des. So it would be like no des. Here, in the ego form is boy, irregular is no vayas. Ser in the ego form is soy, doesn't end in O. The negative command is no seas. Aber, that's a verb that's I, like there is, there are. There are some other tenses we'll be using this verb with second semester that, and in Spanish 3 and 4 that you'll need to know that its command is hayas. Estar's ego form is estoy, so the command is no estés. Saber's ego form is say with an accent mark, so its command is say plus, because you have to learn these separately since for ego forms don't end in O. So the reason I have pictures of dishes here is the acronym is dishes, so that way you can remember all of these. Dar is to give, ir to go, ser to be, aber. We probably aren't going to use this in this unit. Just put it in your notes since you'll probably need it in Spanish 3 and 4. Estar to be as well, and saber to know information and how to do something. So if I'm telling someone, for instance, don't tell me, or the may here is a pronoun. And when we have negative commands, those pronouns are going to be coming before a verb. So in affirmative to commands or any affirmative command, they're going to come after and attached to the verb. Negative commands like no me digas are going to come before the verb. Another example, she's saying no lo compres, don't buy it, but it has to come before the verb because it's a negative command. Another topic with negative commands that you need to be aware of when conjugating is cargar sar verbs. So in Spanish 1, you learned that a letter like C can be soft, like the S sound, or a C can be hard, like a K sound. Most of the time in Spanish, C is going to be hard, except when the next letter is an I or E, that's when it's going to make that sound. And when you conjugate any verb in Spanish or really in any Romance language for that matter, you want to keep that same sound everywhere. So I'm going to have to change some spelling because I want to keep the k sound in a verb that ends in car. I want to keep the g sound in a verb that ends in gar. And I want to keep the z sound in a verb that ends in star. So the reason we have to talk about this here is that these are AR verbs, but my new AR ending is an ES. An I or an E triggers that different sound. So we're going to have to change the spelling in all of these. So if I'm saying don't touch me, so tocar is to touch. I have no tocar. I'm going to take my yo form. So toco, drop the O, add my opposite ending, which is ES. Right now, it looks like toses, but I need to have the k sound from car. So the C is going to become a QU. I'm changing my C to a QU here. So every time a verb ends in car and it's in one of these two negative commands, C is going to change to a QU. And then I'm saying don't touch me, the me part is going to come before the verb because it's a pronoun in negative, it comes before. So if I'm saying don't play it, I have my no, jugar is to play. My yo form of jugar is juego. Take my yo, drop the O, my opposite ending is ES. Here, I want to keep the g sound instead of the h sound, so I have to add a U instead. So in any of these gar verbs, G's are going to change to a GU. And this is something you learned probably last year with a preterite tense because it's the same thing happening with E's being added. Last one, my zar verbs. So almorzar is to eat lunch. I'm saying don't eat lunch. The yo form is almuerzo. is L more star, also changes O to UE. Take my yo, drop the O. My opposite ending is my ES. Z and E never come together, so I have to change Z to a C. So whenever there's a Z, it's going to change to a C. And then lunch can be that whole phrase, L more star. I forgot in this one to say don't play it. My it has to come before the verb because it's a negative command. So C changes to QU, G changes to GU, Z changes to C for car verbs in the -2 commands. I'm going to do a few more examples with the car. So if I'm saying don't look for garlic, buscar is to look for. My yo form is busco. C changes to QU. My opposite ending is ES, el ajo. One note with to look for, you do not put over the word para. It's just included. Look for is all included in that busques word in Spanish. I know don't die is not cargar verb, but I did want to remind you, watch out for stem changers. So morir is to die. It has to change O to UE. Then I do my opposite ending. Don't take out the trash. No sacar la basura is take out the trash. Sacar, take my yo form, drop the O. My opposite ending was yes. C changes to a QU. So hopefully that gave you a few examples with the two negative commands. This will probably be the hardest set of commands. So if you were just overwhelmed by this video, know that we'll be practicing it and none of the others will be this hard.